You know, Sam, there's a great scene in the film when you eat a hamburger, the Big Kahuna Burger. But didn't you eat a hamburger once before for a TV commercial for a hamburger chain?
Yeah, that was the first commercial I ever did in my life, actually, for the Crystal hamburger chain, which is large in the southeast, where I grew up in Chattanooga and in Atlanta. Yeah, and I think my dialogue is one of those small little square nickel burger things, and had little onions on it, and I think my dialogue was, it's probably the cooked onions. Yeah. Made my mom realize I was really an actor. It was the first time she saw me on television, and she accepted the fact that I was making a living.
Well, another interesting job you had, you worked as Bill Cosby's stand-in for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, the first, I think maybe 3-4 seasons of the show, yeah.
So how did that, what was that experience like for you?
Well, it was, I used to tell myself that I was learning television acting technique because we actually got to do the show every week as the stand-in family. We would write down the blocking they did, and then they would go and they would work on the camera moves, and we would do the show. So to make myself feel good about what I was doing, I told myself that I was learning television acting technique. And I guess it kind of worked, but it was a job. It paid me, and it was like a class for me. And they also were very understanding when I had auditions. It was more or less good luck and hurry back than no, you can't go. I need somebody to wait my tables. So it was cool.
Yeah, Sam, I've always been fascinated with actors' earliest movie debuts or movie roles. Ragtime, you know, James Cagney's last film.
Yeah.
Where would we find you in that film, and how big a deal for you to do that movie?
I'm one of Cole House Walker's gang members, and that's where you'll find me mostly, by the door at the library, because Milos would never let me come inside the library. And it was a huge deal for me. That was like my first big budget film, and I also got to go on location in London for about 3 months, which was totally cool, and actually got to eat lunch with Mr. Cagney pretty much on a regular basis. We talked a lot.
What did you talk about?
Old movies, us doing that job, you know, and being tough guys, hanging out. It's full of, you know, great stories as usual, you know, wonderful stories.
You know, Sam, I've always been interested in SAG rules, especially when it comes to names. Like Michael J. Fox, the J is there because of a Michael Fox actor who passed away recently. Is there a Sam Jackson actor in the SAG rundown?
Yeah, there was a Sam, there was a Samuel, and a Sammy. So when I joined SAG, I had to use Samuel L. I'm sure they've been spending my residual checks ever since.
I love audience etiquette. How these days a lot of people will talk during a movie. Interviewed an actress who was doing a play in Florida. In the middle of the performance, a woman walked to the front of the stage and said, "Speak up, we can't hear you." I'm wondering, in your theater days, what kind of interesting interruptions did you get from the audiences?
Gosh, we've had some guys fighting in the back of the theater over a wine bottle. It's one of those hospital audiences that they brought into the public, and we stopped and watched the fight. We've had 2 people in the front row do everything but take their clothes off and make love while we watched them on stage. A girl popping gum right off stage, and this one of them said, "Give me the gum, give me the gum." She spit it in my hand, and I took it. You know, things like that.
Okay. When you go into a restaurant these days, how often do you hear that? Quotes from people?
That's a daily thing. A day doesn't go by that somebody doesn't pass me and say something about, what do they call quarter pounder with cheese in France? And I always go, what? I don't know what. Or they'll go, hey, had a Big Kahuna Burger lately? What was that passage in the Bible? Ezekiel, you know that passage is not in the Bible. I looked that up. That's not in it. It's like, okay, man, I didn't write it. I just said it. But every day, yeah, there's something from Pulp Fiction. You need to be on Brain Detail. Okay.
I know you went through a period where you played a lot of bad guy roles.
Yeah.
And I think of actors like Cagney and Bogart. They also played bad guys early in their career. Okay. But was that frustrating for you for a while to play a lot of bad type of roles?
Nah, not at all. It was always challenging to me because of the fact that I was playing all these bad guys. It was incumbent upon me to find new and different ways to play these very same guys. And it allowed me to grow in a whole nother way as an actor.
You know, I'm doing a humorous piece on the things that actors ask for when they go on location.
I have no sense of humor. Okay, go ahead.
Well, when you go on location, like what kinds of like little things do you ask for that'll make your life a little comfortable? I mean, do you ask for like a gym to work out in, or
no? No, be comfortable working out every day. That's crazy. No, the only thing, my #1 contract perk for me is that the production company joins a golf club somewhere so I can play while I'm on location. That's mine.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Doggone right.
And final question: actors, when they fly on airplanes, I was on a plane where Edward Norton was on.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see how people were coming up to him and talking to him. When you're on a plane,
I don't fly domestic.
Well, when you're on a plane, what kind of weird experiences have you had with people on an aircraft?
Weird experiences? Let me see. I've had one guy talk to me for a very long time about Pulp Fiction, and then ask me who the actor was that was in it. And he said, that was Lawrence Fishburne, right? I go, no. And then we flew on for another couple hours, and we finally got ready to get off the plane. He said, well, who was that actor? And I go, well, Samuel Jackson. He said, oh yeah, thanks. Left.